Hey, Bri.
Hey, John.
It's so funny just staring at you across this room right now. We've been doing this now for a couple of months, but now it's like, hey, Bri, how you doing?
Hey, it's like the forced hangout, which is nice.
So how was your day? All right? Not too bad?
Busy. That's
Okay.
all. Yeah.
It's been busy. Well, time is ticking away. I mean, the countdown to Christmas it's rapidly approaching.
Yes.
I'm still not ready for anything, but I do have a cheat code when it comes to Christmas because I always go to the store that I go to in the morning and I buy a lot of Christmas presents. Do you eat breakfast or anything, or do you have a routine
hardly.
stop in the morning or anything?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, well, for work, I go to the same place, local spot, every morning before work or just when I start work and I start my day, I go there.
Where you get hoop cheese?
Yeah, I go to Eagle Island. It's a local spot.
Uh-huh.
It's the best place in the world. It's like Fantasyland. I get snacks there for the whole day. I don't really eat breakfast, but I get like little stuff like crackers. They got these slices of little cheese that they sell for like 40 cents. I get like a couple pieces of cheese and a piece of fruit. They have, when I say they have everything, it's like a general store.
Right.
But also a seafood market and a produce stand. They got meats, they got cheeses, they got candy, they have ice cream, fresh local seafood, like I said. They even have live bait. They literally have everything. It's totally old school.
I like it. I've been there.
Yeah, but
it is very old. It seems like it's old because it is old.
It is old. It's been there forever.
Yeah.
The guy who owns it passed away a few years ago, and now it's his son who runs it. I see him every day, which basically brings me to what I want to talk about today. I go in there every day, and just from going in there every day, they know me. Hey, how you doing? Where you traveling? They have so many regulars. It's amazing. And in the afternoons, that place is packed because people come in for ice cream and beer after work and all their snacks. So I was there today, and I saw the owner behind the counter, Sammy, and I said, hey, Sammy, I think I finally got you, because I always laugh. Every time I walk in that store, I find something else that I've never seen. I said, I think I finally got you with something that you don't have. Do you remember the pieces of paper like a roll in the cash register, and they had little hard candies stuck to them?
Yeah, no, they're dots.
The dots?
Yeah.
I haven't seen those in forever. So I go, Sammy, I got you, because he has every single candy you could possibly think of, old school candy. He goes, no, I got him. I said, you're joking. He goes, no. He comes out behind the register. He goes to a spot and he goes, oh, crap, you must have sold out this weekend. I'm out. He gets on the phone and while I'm standing there, he's ordering them. He says, oh, they'll be here Wednesday. I said, what? He has everything. I'm talking from like the old licorice, every shape of candy, the hard candies that you see in your grandma's bowl and your great-grandmother's bowl, to the new Mary Jane's. And
Mary Jane's are good. Those dots were awful. I
know,
hated them as a kid.
Right,
I'm
but
just saying.
Because you used to peel them and you used to have to eat the paper with them.
Yeah, but they weren't that. I mean, to me, I didn't like them, but they were very old. I get it.
They got the little Nico wafers. They got the candies that the soft parts are in the middle, where the caramels,
the cowtails.
Huh? Oh, they have every single kind of candy. So I was literally like, "What are they?" I'm a candy guy from when I was a kid. We used to go to our relatives' houses. We didn't have candy in our house, really. Not really. But when I would go to my aunt's house in Queens for any holiday, they had every single type of candy in a bowl sitting around, between chocolates and licorices and all this other stuff.
You were a weird kid too, because you like black licorice. You're still the person that I call the freak that likes, and I say that with love, but like black licorice. Like, honestly, most people make fun of that. I know, but guess what? Anisette kind of tastes
Sambuca. It's popular. They still sell it.
I know, but I'm just saying it's a candy that 9 out of 10 people would say, nah. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with loving it. If I loved it, I'd be proud.
I know. I like black licorice.
Yeah, I know you do.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
One time we were on a trip. I was taking my daughter somewhere with her friends to Carowinds, I think it was, and we were driving back, and I was eating some little black licorice candies that I had in the front seat, and my daughter goes, "You're not going to share?" And I said, "Nobody's going to want my candy." And they said, okay. So gave them out to her and her friends. They chewed them and they immediately spit them out. What is this garbage? They didn't want anything. So I'm like, okay, yeah. So maybe you're right.
Oh,
okay.
It's not good. And by the way, I had in Southport once saltwater taffy, black licorice flavor. They were giving out samples just to try it. Delicious. And it was the only thing I've ever liked with a black licorice flavor.
So I'm ahead of my time, see, because my palate was much more mature for candy than yours. That's all.
Whatever. It was taffy, but
okay. Semantics now at this point. So So since they have every odd candy and this and the other thing, what I wanted to ask you was there any kind of candy that you had as a kid that you can't get now that you liked?
I can get it now, but it's not as readily available as I want it to be. And I love Charleston Chews, and that is an old candy as well, because it was like the Charleston, right? It was done way back when. So I particularly like the strawberry one, but I'll take the vanilla, and I do like the chocolate.
And all three of them are there, by the way, just to let you know.
I'm sure they are. And you go to a candy shop that is in like Mayfair or some other bullshit, and they're like, oh, look, you can get this candy, and it's like $6, and you're like, this is ridiculous. It's like should be like $2. Just like it's probably reasonably priced at Eagle Island.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they're out at the regular candy bar aisle, so it's not like a crazy thing.
Yeah.
You know what they had there? I actually saw today, because I'm scouting for this stuff now. I was looking at it going, what? How can you possibly have this stuff? I don't know if you liked it. They look like little peanuts.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Orange, they were crushed.
Yeah, they have them still at the Dollar General that you can buy them.
You're kidding.
Now. At the Dollar Tree, rather.
Okay.
Dollar Tree has cowtails and those, they have them in bulk, so you can buy them by weight.
You can buy them.
Yeah.
They put them in the little containers for you.
Yeah, they're circus peanuts, they're called.
Oh, is that what it is?
I believe so. And a lot of people hate them too.
Those I know.
I don't mind them at all, but I won't go out and like buy a whole bunch of them. But if you had one right now, I'd happily eat it.
I don't think I could have more than one. That's probably the max for me.
Do you have a favorite gum? I'll tell you mine.
Go ahead.
Because when I was a kid, I get it very rarely. Jack's was our candy store.
Yes, Jack's.
All right, so it was on the corner of
across from our school.
What was it, Atlantic Avenue and Center? Or is that what it was, Atlanta? Right. So Big League Chew is still the best tasting gum that I think almost the flavor lasts. The great flavor lasts for a lot longer than most other gums too. There's something about any flavor, particularly grape, if I'm going to do it. Like anyway.
Big League Chew was fantastic.
And still around.
The problem is you needed to have self-discipline and control because
no, you shove the whole damn thing in your mouth.
Everything. It's a big bag. Shove it in there, and you're chewing. You're like, oh, this tastes so good, but literally you can't speak.
The advertising.
They cheeks were out.
Because they tried to make it like you're chewing tobacco, and they'd show it like that, and they encouraged you to waste the whole damn thing and shove it in your mouth. But I did enjoy that very much.
Well, there's only 2 candy bars that I didn't even ask him about because when I was in London last year, I had a Mars bar. And a Mars bar
it's different.
Is a little bit different. It's fantastic.
It's also different there.
On the plane. It's different there.
You have a Mars bar here and a Mars bar there, and they're different candy bars.
I haven't seen a Mars bar here anywhere. So I think you have to special order them.
Okay, I want to say I thought I have. But...
And the other one that I haven't seen here, and I got to ask him because Sammy could probably get it in 10 minutes, is a Marathon bar. Do you remember the Marathon bars? They were fantastic.
Well, they were marathons that were. Yeah, I've had one, and maybe I had one in England, or I had one sent.
I think they have them in some stores here, some specialty stores that we don't have. Like I think like some World Markets or some Sprouts or some other stuff, and we don't have too many of those around this.
Have you used the internet, John?
Yes,
have you looked? Have you looked like?
You know, here's the thing. I want to have one Mars bar. I don't want to spend $12 to get one shipped to me or buy a case. Because then I have a case of Mars bars and I'm like, crap, I really have a problem if I'm ordering cases of candy.
Right.
Okay? I'd rather just stop at Eagle Island and pick one here and there. I do like a good chunky, by the way. I never realized how much I like the chunkies.
Chunkies were great when I was a kid. I loved the ones with raisins.
Yes, and the World Finest bars that they used to sell for all the charities, now that they're only like 1/3 of what they used to be. There used to be these giant chocolate bars, but they're not there anymore.
And the Cadbury's Fruit and Nut, they still have them, and that was my favorite as a kid and still as an adult, even though I haven't had them in years.
I try not to get too much candy, but my kids always bring candy in the house. So every once in a while, I just like a piece of chocolate.
So when we were kids, too, a favorite in the house that was only there once a year was a Joya or Joyva.
Yeah.
The jelly bars, right? So little chocolate-covered little... I would eat...
They had to be those because the other ones had a different off flavor to it. They couldn't be an off brand. You just had to wait for those. Those and the little jelly rings. Well, I want to follow up on 2 things that we talked about last week before we get into football. One is that someone sent in the comments to me a movie that I forgot, and I do stop every time. Not because it's a Christmas movie, because I love Bill Murray. Scrooged. I love Bill Murray. I love all Bill Murray movies. I don't know why. I don't think he can do any wrong just because it's him and it's his face.
And he's gonna pick things that are at least he's gonna find humorous, and he's got great taste. And by the way, which makes me we should talk about his directorial debut, which I didn't know it was his directorial debut, this particular movie. But go on, you want to talk more about Bill Murray?
Well, we'll do Bill Murray right now. Go ahead. What was his directorial debut?
Quick Change.
No.
Yeah. I didn't know that he
I
directed
never knew that either.
I'm pretty sure.
He's looking that up. I will say this. When you say Quick Change, almost nobody knows.
I know.
Quick Change.
So apparently it was directed by Howard Franklin and Bill Murray in their directorial debuts, and written by Franklin based on the novel of the same name, which I didn't even know that.
I did not.
But man, what a great movie.
Great movie, great cast, but Bill Murray was perfect in that movie.
Perfect.
Tony Shalhoub who's Monk was the cab driver. He was fantastic.
I
Randy
know exactly.
Quaid, Gina Davis, Bluff Tony.
Bluff Tony.
Nobody knows. His acting in that set him above. He only had like 3 words in the whole movie.
Yeah, 1990 was when it was out, and it was a flop.
It was a total flop, and I thought it was the best movie ever.
And I only saw it on video. I never saw it in the theater. I never even saw that it was out in the theater, much less watched it in the theater.
You had it recorded. And you had to record it on
okay,
something.
I thought
VHS,
actually,
and I watched it maybe 30 times.
Yeah, I watched it a lot.
Because it was fantastic. So to me, Bill Murray is an actor's actor, comedian, one of those guys that kind of like a Jim Carrey and a Robin Williams, who he's a comedian, he's funny, but he can do anything, serious roles, everything. I just like what he does.
I maybe saw Scrooged once 25 years ago.
Every time I see his face, Bill Murray's face in a movie, and the facial expressions, even what was the one, the Royal Tenenbaums?
Yeah.
Even
whoa. Is he in Royal Tenenbaums?
Bill Murray.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, so I don't really remember him in it. I don't know why.
He was in it. Gene Hackman was in it.
Gene Hackman was the dad, and Angelina Jolie in that?
I'm not sure. I just Bill Murray, to me, when he goes for these odd roles, I love it. It's just one of those things. He gets into it. I know that's why he never did follow-ups to other movies, because he said that, no, it was good the first time, but he doesn't want to do sequels. That's why he always had a hard time doing sequels, and finally did help out with the Ghostbusters one, but he never really wanted to do it.
And he apparently doesn't have an agent. So the story
He does everything himself.
Well, the story is, though, that you have to somehow get his phone number and then leave a message. And if he wants to do the movie, he'll call you back.
Exactly.
Kind of a thing.
That's what I heard, the same exact story. I think I heard it on Howard. Well, the only other follow-up to last week's show was the fact that I talked to Tommy in New York, and he does put up his Christmas tree, and he decorates it on Christmas Eve because his mom and dad did it. But here's the thing, and sure enough, he still does it to this day.
He doesn't actually, he cuts it, leaves it in the garage, but he still also doesn't put it up there until.
No, he doesn't put it up. He takes care of it. I guess he puts it in water, but he doesn't put the tree up and in the house
until Christmas Eve.
And he does, and I talked to him and I said, "Do you know anybody else that does this?" And he said, "No, my whole life nobody did this. My parents did it, and that's why I did it. His mom didn't want to do it. His dad forced his mom to do it. So Tommy continues the tradition in his house. But the only other person he said he ever found out that did that was his wife's family actually did it when they were kids.
Yeah.
His wife's whole family did it. He said that's why he knew they were meant to be.
It must have been an Irish thing, an Irish Catholic thing.
I have no idea. I said they're only meant to be because she's the only one that could put up with him this long. I don't know what it is. But anyway.
Yeah.
I love you, Tom. And Siobhan.
And Siobhan. She's great.
Thank God for Siobhan.
Yeah. It would be nice if
she's the only one that could keep up with him. That's it. Yeah. Well, Tommy's going to start giving us some picks. He's our New York correspondent, so we're going to try and get Tommy to give us some parlay picks because he's big into the gambling.
We'll see.
So we'll see. He went 6 for 6 a couple of weeks ago when he was bragging. So I said, all right, we'll see how good you are. Let's announce him before.
Right.
And don't tell me after. Announce him before. Let me know. Okay, so now, on that note, we're going to football. Last week was the first week that we decided to go parlays instead of teases. And let's just say, this is for entertainment purposes only. So I don't want anybody to follow us and lose money. But if you happen to follow us and you happen to bet with us, we won our 3-game parlay.
Yeah.
There was a lot of questions about which game was going to be the last game.
Right.
But we wound up picking that. And during the whole game, Brian's texting. Oh, gosh. He's trying to listen to the game. I was listening to the game while I'm watching 2 other games. And I was just like, just wait. It's okay. Just wait. Because they were down. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, no, it was ugly.
It didn't look very good. It didn't look very good for us. But it wound up rounding out.
They rounded out. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. All right.
I know. Hey.
I mean, that is what did it, obviously. So it was a big, I shut it off in the third quarter after what's his name's third interception.
Yeah, the turnover battle was crazy.
Knicks. God.
Actually, what gave us the parlay wasn't even that. It was the fact that the Colts running back was running into the end zone. I don't know if you saw this play because you turned it off. He was running the end zone to score a touchdown and decided to celebrate 6 inches from the goal line and drop the ball. He was all alone. He was running in for a touchdown. And he dropped the ball, and the ball trickled into the end zone on the ground, and it was turned over. No points on the board, and it was given back to the Broncos as a touchback.
No, I didn't.
That happened 3 times this past week where people dropped the ball right before the end zone in celebrating. How about this? How about run completely through the end zone until you get out the other side and then throw the ball and celebrate? Yeah. They're doing it right at the goal line? Come on. Stupid. You guys, this happened. It happened in college and it happened in the pros. In the last 2 weeks, I think it happened 4 or 5 times. It's incredible. But that was a momentum swing that gave the Broncos the ball, and they went down and they stayed in the game because it would have been out of reach.
So I felt like I did good this week on the picks.
You did pretty good. We actually did pretty good altogether. Here's the thing. When you're picking all your games against the spread, on the season, we're well over 50%. And if you're in the 60 percentile, I'm going to do a tally coming up of the whole season for our picks. Forget about the teases, just without the teases if we picked them. If you're in the 60%, you're doing really well. Because it's basically, you're picking knowledge, but you're also picking weather, outdoors, away games. The favorites, the points swing down, they swing up. Mm-hmm. Injuries happen, everything. Let's go over the games last week real quick. Thursday night game, the Rams on the road at the Niners. This was the Rams 12, the Niners 6. It was a shocker. Both of these teams put up 30-something points the week before.
Right.
It was a little bit of weather, but still.
It was rainy, right?
Yeah, but still, this was 12-6. I'm just glad the Niners really dropped. I think they're not going to win the division or have a chance to win the division based on the fact that there's only a few weeks left. The Rams, though, unfortunately, are challenging for the division. I do like Stafford, but he's a threat to my Seahawks. The next game was the Commanders on the road to the Saints. Now, this game, Commanders 20, Saints 19. The Commanders let the Saints back in the game at the end. The Saints went for 2 to win the game because their season's over, and they missed it. That's why they lost the game. This could have went to overtime. It did not. We both had the Commanders.
And we lost.
We lost. But the Commanders now finally won a game. They're still putting themselves in a position to possibly come out with a wild card for the playoffs, so we'll see. The next game, we sweated the entire game. The entire game we were sweating this game. The Chiefs, 21, the Browns 7. We picked the Chiefs in our parlay. This was a 4-point spread. The Chiefs were favored by 4. At any moment, this could have been a disaster, especially when Patrick Mahomes got hurt. When he got knocked out of the game, I said, this is it. But the Browns, every time he went back for a deep pass, he threw it to the Chiefs. They didn't look like they were fantastic. They were running okay. It was an okay game. They scored early and didn't really do much for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and the Browns scored early, and didn't they even score first? Oh, no, probably not. But I was nervous.
No, I was nervous watching this whole game because the Chiefs looked like they just got stuck in the mud, and that was it. When Mahomes went down, I went, this is how we're going to lose this stupid freaking parlay. They're still going to win a game, but they're going to win by 3, and we're going to lose this parlay. But nope, we pulled it out.
There you go.
The next game, we said, hopefully, this is the game where Brian looked at it and went, I can't believe it, because the Titans jumped all over the Bengals right away.
Oh, yes, they did.
14 points. You're going, what happened to this? What happened to this game? And then the Bengals came back a little bit, scored again, and finally that offense was going. The Titans quarterback is awful. Levis, I'm sorry. The Mayo commercials. Forget about that. Study the damn playbook, okay? Because you can't do it.
What's his Mayo? What Mayo is he pushing?
He has Mayo cologne. You got to look. Okay, we're going to look this up for you next week. We're going to talk about it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, but this guy is in mayonnaise commercials. He likes mayonnaise. He likes the smell of mayonnaise. And because of that, they made a mayonnaise scented cologne. Don't ask. I have no idea. Mayonnaise doesn't smell great.
I like
terrible,
mayonnaise. I really like mayonnaise.
I don't think I would wear mayonnaise scented cologne. So
no,
you never.
No,
not unless maybe I was at a barbecue or something. But
right.
But no. So it was the Bengals 37, the Titans 27. We covered. That was the game you weren't sure. You're like, I could switch this one out, but we kept that one. So that was the first two. The first two were the Chiefs and the Bengals right away. The next game was a conundrum for us because we were looking at 3 different games, so we had to pick one. The next game on the schedule, though, for us was the Dolphins at the Texans. Dolphins 12, Texans 20.
Now,
I picked the Texans.
Yeah.
You picked the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Texans actually look like they're coming back because Nico Collins is back. If I'm not mistaken, they're in the playoffs. I think they clinched the division.
I'm surprised that of course, after the fact, when I lost, I'm surprised I didn't pick the Texans, but all right.
Remember you were talking about how Tua's back and
the
guy,
that they would compete,
so
but really it was just 3-point spread. But
it was a 3-point spread. Next game is the Ravens at the Giants. Ravens 35, Giants 14. Yeah. And I sat there and I said, the Giants, the Ravens are worried about what the Ravens dominated. But here's the strange thing. Henry didn't do crap. So Jackson had 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns.
Wow.
They easily dominated the Giants. The Ravens have a big game coming up this week, but that was good for them because it put them back in the race for the division. You had the Ravens. You got it right. You laid the 16 points and covered easily. I took the Giants. That was a nosedive. That was terrible. The next game, the Jets on the road at the Jaguars. Jets 32, Jaguars 25. I thought I had this game in the bag, picking this game, because the Jets, and I even texted you during the game, I said, the Jets are just, why are the Jets so terrible? And they were. Aaron Rodgers pulled it out, yes, but that was really not a great game. They beat Mac Jones and the Jaguars, the hapless Jaguars, who can't really get anything done. Aaron Rodgers ran. He ran for like 40-plus yards. He threw a couple touchdowns to Hopkins. Hopkins had a huge day. I'll just say this. They're not going anywhere. This is just to try and get another job next year.
Yeah.
Because the Jets don't want him, and he doesn't want the Jets.
Yeah, it's sad. And that he won against the Jaguars, was that really like a big deal?
He won on the road against the Jaguars. What does that do?
Whatever.
They're done. Brian got it right. I got it wrong. It was wishful thinking. I can't stand the Jets.
Don't go with them anymore.
No.
All right.
Cowboys on the road against the Panthers.
So this was the one that I was nervous about because I've seen the Panthers compete, and I'm like, they can keep this close. Did I think they were going to win? No. You were very confident that Dallas was going to dominate.
Well, Cowboys 30, Panthers 14.
Mm-hmm.
I said this was a sucker's bet based on recency bias. And you said, I'm going for the Panthers because I'm going with my heart. And then I said the Cowboys, and you said, I could be convinced to put them in a parlay. So with your pick, I just put a big question mark because I figured you're going to be convinced we were going to put them in a parlay.
Yeah, I could have been convinced.
We're both on the Cowboys. But once again, the Cowboys won, but they beat the Panthers. Bryce Young reverted to some bad things. He threw a couple of picks. There was turnovers in the game. The Cowboys looked good, but they looked good against the Panthers. Really what that means is the Panthers are a hot and cold team, just like some of the other teams. They're not put together with a lot of firepower. And when they play well, everything needs to go perfect. And for the last few weeks, they were playing tough.
They were. I mean, they were right there with Kansas City.
And they were right there with Philly.
Right.
Yeah, so you thought maybe it was going to be there, but the truth of the matter is they didn't win. And the Cowboys have so much talent. They're just a mess. Dak Prescott's out, but still, they got a lot of money in that payroll, and I think a lot of them are playing for jobs elsewhere. So I think that's what's going to put them together for the rest of the season because they're not going to win anything. I think they're still mathematically in the equation. I don't think anything's going to happen with them, but I still think they got a lot of actual talent on the team. The next game was a shock to me and you because we both picked them wrong. The Bucks on the road at the Chargers. Chargers -3. The Bucks 40, the Chargers 17.
Yeah.
Chargers laid an egg. Baker Mayfield did it again. Now he's in first place in the division against the Falcons.
Yep.
This guy from a couple of years ago where he's a bust, let's get him out of town, and nobody wanted him, is lighting it up. He is lighting it up. Now, their receivers are healthy again. They're back in. Their running back did play. Their defense is good, not great, but they're good enough. If you remember years ago, the greatest show on turf with the Rams were Kurt Warner and all those guys, their defense was good only when they had a lead. And it was easy for them to get a lead because their offense was so strong. So basically, if you're up by 10 points, you know the other team's going to pass. You're just pinning your ears back and you're going for the quarterback. You don't really think about, oh, the running back's going to run. No, because they need to score quick to try and catch up when you're down by 10.
Right.
That's the difference in some of these teams. If you have a great offense, then you can get ahead real quick, and your defense has an easier time because they're just playing the pass anyway. So they're dropping safeties, and they're rushing the quarterback, and they're either blitzing or whatever because they know they're not going to throw a 3-yard pass to the running back. They need to score quick.
Makes sense.
From here on out, I got to really consider the Bucs as a strong team against basically almost anybody. Because if you remember, they went in and they were the first loss for the Lions this year. And that was in week 2, I think, or week 3.
I can see them already being a part of this week's parlay.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see who they're up against.
I just wrote it down real quick
to
go over the spreads.
Okay.
This week is insane. So hopefully
there's a few that'll stand out.
Exactly. That's what we're hoping. Next game, Colts on the road against the Broncos. This was our third game in the parlay.
Yes.
We decided on this one. We regretted it the second it happened until all of a sudden miracles happen. And thank you very much.
Yes.
And we ran it right after the game. I came over. I go, hey, you smiling. You're like, yeah, we did
there we
it.
go.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
Colts 13, the Broncos 31. In that game, I do not know how the Broncos got to 31. At some point, I was hoping for an overtime and the possibility of the Broncos going down and scoring a touchdown. That was my chance. I was like, this is our only chance is going to be if they push it to overtime. And then all of a sudden, pick 6. And then all of a sudden, fumble. And all of a sudden, the guy drops the ball before he crosses the plane in celebration. And I go, this is meant to be.
Yeah,
meant to be.
It was wonderful because I stopped listening to it. I was getting frustrated. I'm like, damn it. And you had said prior to that, you're like, if we would have went with Dallas, we would have already won it, because they were all at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
I know.
I did. I said Dallas won. They were all at 1 o'clock.
And I'm like, fuck it. Right away, I'm like, listen, I told you. I could have been convinced. I didn't want to be the one because I don't know. But I just stopped listening. And then maybe 30 minutes go by, and I look at the score, and they were down by 7, I believe. And all of a sudden, they were up by 7. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to look at it anymore after that. I'll wait a little bit. And then 15 minutes later, they're up by more. I was so happy. So happy.
You didn't want to jinx it.
No. And I wouldn't listen to it because when I was listening to it, it was bad. So then I started to go, when they were winning, I started watching the shit on NFL.com, waiting for it to update. Anyway.
I listened to the game. It actually was a very ugly game, but it proves that the Broncos actually have a decent defense. And Richardson is a very young quarterback, and they played him right. I did not know this. I learned this in the offseason before the season started, and I forgot it. Richardson only played 1 year of college. And last year, he was drafted, and he got hurt half the season. So really, he's a young guy. Even though it's the second year, he's young in his NFL life, and he's raw. He's got a lot of talent, but he is raw. Bo Nix, who had a terrible day.
Right.
Terrible day.
Terrible.
Was in college. I believe he played for 5 or 6 years in college. He's got 3 or 4 years on this guy as far as playing experience.
Right.
So I'm glad they won. I called Tommy. It's Tommy's Broncos. Tommy was texting me back and forth. Sorry, man, because, he thought we lost the parlay. But we won. I didn't care at that point. We were watching games. I was like, yes, at least we won our first actual parlay that we played this year. The Patriots on the road against the Cardinals. Patriots 17, Cardinals 30. I actually said to you, I said, this game, telling you, at home, the Cardinals is a parlayable game because you're like, I don't trust the Cardinals at all. And I don't, except for at home. Kyler Murray did his thing. They played well. The Patriots on the road, they're still a very young team.
Yeah, it worked out. You're right. Listen,
So we covered that one.
Yeah.
Because we both picked, at that point, we both picked the Cardinals. So we covered that one. The Bills and the Lions.
Oof.
I'm going to say this. This game, based on the score, Bills 48, Lions 42. You'd think it was close. It was not a close game. Even in the last minute when they got the ball back and they still had it, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Well,
this game, they would jump on right away. And I said, the Bills, if you can't match what the Bills are doing, now they adjusted a little bit. Goff had 400-something yards and 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. The problem is there was nothing you could do to stop Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns before you turned around. If you left and went to the restroom for a break, you came back, it was 14. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, I was watching. I turned on the game. It was 14-0. Then I saw a great drive that they came right back, or after they scored the 14th point. Lions go for 7. I'm like, sweet. And then, of course, Bills came right back, 21-7. And it was like, oh, shit, okay. And then after that, I kind of lost track.
They got punched in the mouth, and they were shocked. They weren't down in a game like that at the beginning of the game all season, except when they played the Bucs and they got punched in the mouth. And this game, I don't know if it's a wake-up call for them or not. I think it actually is, to say we're not as badass as we think we are. There are teams out there that are going to take you out. The coach still played his stuff, did an onside kick earlier in the game that you thought he was going to do, tried a lot of things. They have a great offensive scheme. They can't stop anybody. Their whole approach to the game is ram it down their throat. Get up on everybody. Get up on everybody. When they were down, at some point, you didn't think they were coming back at all. Now, they did. To their credit, they did. And the score looked better than it actually was.
Right, because you said it was like that last score was within the last minute,
last
and
score,
they
I
did
think
it
there was
onside
15
kick.
seconds, 20 seconds left on the clock, or maybe it was 12 seconds.
So basically, they just pissed off a lot of people who bet.
The Lions were favored by 2.5. But they pissed off people because it's like, why so late? Like, where was this the whole time? They couldn't stop anybody. If they get people back on defense, yes. The problem that this game causes is the fact that Philly won and the Vikings are playing right now. And the Vikings...
They were up 13-0 when we started.
The Vikings look like they're having an easier time right now.
20-6.
Than expected. So the Vikings are going to be tied with the Lions. Next game, Packers on the road at my Seahawks. Packers 30, Seahawks 13.
Yep, my heart made me lose.
I know. I picked the same way. I just wanted the Seahawks so bad. Packers are an actual good team when Jordan Love doesn't turn the ball over. When he doesn't throw pick sixes and he doesn't do the same thing that Caleb Williams does and Will Levis does, which takes you out of a game. This is what they've learned. Take the 3 points in a field goal and give yourself a chance. Stop throwing a turnover in the red zone and 30 yards of going in. You see these interceptions in the end zone, you go, shit, we had a chance to at least get 3. Now it's nothing. Now they're getting the ball in the 30 and they're marching down. If they get a field goal, a 6-point, 7-point swing, it could be a 10-point swing, whatever it is, and it takes you right out. You're like, oh, shit, and it sticks with you for a while. There's only certain teams. Somehow the Lions did it this week. There's only certain teams that forget the fact that they just screwed up bad.
And the Bills are freaking, by the way, they're just great.
The Bills are ridiculous.
They are.
And I think this game, even though they lost last week, to the week before to the Rams, I think that this game solidified that the MVP is Josh Allen's to lose. He looks like he's playing quarterback at a whole different level than everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar Jackson is great, but he's doing something out there that you're going, I never saw this coming. And he didn't come from a big university, and he got drafted high, and everybody when he first came out says, oh, this guy's a turnover machine, he's reckless, he's this and everything. Yeah, he's reckless. He's reckless like a runaway freight train. He'll run you over. This guy's too big.
Yeah.
Everybody else is so scared of their quarterbacks. This guy design runs, threat. This guy, whatever. He's so hard to tackle. They need a Super Bowl from this guy in the next year or two because he may break somehow. Some defender or some linebacker who's just about his size might try and come and take him out because there's no other way to stop this guy.
Yeah.
So you got to hit him hard.
I wish I was a Bills fan. Like, I'm not a Bills fan, but I wish they were my team. I'd be thrilled.
I will root for the Bills if I do not like the competition in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's basically
it.
Me
Me too.
Other than
Absolutely.
that, we'll see where it goes. The Super Bowl is going to be crazy this year. We're going to go back to a game that we didn't mention yet. The Steelers on the road against the Eagles. Steelers 13, Eagles 27. I expected more of the Steelers. Yes, they didn't have Pickens. A couple of people got hurt during the game. I get it, but I expected more of a fight from this team.
So did I. Obviously, I picked them.
So we both picked the Steelers. Thank God we didn't put them in that parlay as the third one.
Yeah.
We actually picked a home team because the other 2 games were on the road. We decided to pick, and the third one were the Cowboys. We would have had a 3-game parlay with all 3 teams that were favored on the road, which is usually a disaster. So we picked a home favorite.
And I wouldn't have put them. I wouldn't have wanted to put them in the. I wouldn't have wanted to put that in the parlay myself.
Oh, I was close. I put it in a tease, and I didn't get it because of the Steelers.
Yeah,
I got 2 of the 3 teases, and the Steelers are what cost me.
And I would have done it with the tease, sure, not the parlay.
And the last 2 games are going on right now, and I'll give you an update real quick. The Falcons 15.
Yeah, and what is it? They're playing
and
against
the Raiders
6.
3. And the other game, you gave an update on the Vikings.
Yeah, it was 6-27 now, and that's the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left.
And now it's to this week's picks and a second week of parlays, and we're hoping to take that money and let it ride.
That's it. Well, no, we're not letting it ride. No, but we're doing the same bet, so that'll be good. Same bet, and hopefully we're gonna
try and
agree
pick
on three.
And if we agree on three, we're gonna pick three. If not, we'll bet separate.
Let's just do it so that we're agreeing on three. I can do that, and I can get behind you. Well, we'll see.
Okay,
let's see. All right, let's get to it.
There's a couple of games because our game's playing right now. The odds are going to be a little shaky, so we're going to see what happens. First, there's a game on Thursday, 2 games on Saturday this week, which is rare. Thursday, Broncos on the road at the Chargers.
Okay, I would not do this game. I'll tell you that right now. It wouldn't be a part of my parlay. And against the Chargers, which is Herbert, because I really remember that now.
This is a division game.
Man, I don't know, because the Chargers did shitty last week. Are they going to bounce back right now? You're saying they're at the Chargers? I'd go with the Chargers. What would you say the spread was? You didn't?
Chargers -3.
Damn it. What do you think? Since it's not a parlay, I don't care.
I know. I think if it wasn't Thursday, I would actually parlay this. It's a short week, though. The Broncos are coming off a win that they didn't expect to win, and Bo Nix was terrible. I expect him to be better. Their defense played well. Division game, though. I think the Chargers are going to take this game. I'm taking the Chargers.
All right, I'm going to go opposite of you. I'm going to go Broncos.
Texans on the road on Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has diagnosed with a high ankle sprain.
I don't believe the high ankle sprain.
I saw him get hit. If you saw the hit, he was folded over. He got hit high and low. He was hurt right away. It wasn't a thing. Now, he gets hurt a lot.
Well, he does limp a lot, and then he'll run around.
Sometimes I don't know how bad it really is, but he was hurt. He didn't come back in the game. They taped up both his ankles. He didn't come back in the game.
But there was a fourth quarter injury. How much time was left, and they were up pretty good.
Yes.
Right. So, honestly,
he said
with
if it was
any
the playoffs,
injury,
he probably would have tried to come back in. Would have tried.
So, I mean, I don't know.
He was hit quite a few times that game.
I'm gonna go with.
I just don't think he's playing. And that's why the spread is -2.5.
I'm thinking Kansas City, and I think he's going to play, but I don't know.
I think that's why it's 2.5. I think the smart play is to not play him. I think it was Carson Wentz who came in. He did nothing. But I still think the Chiefs are a little bit better than the Texans at home. I'm not putting this in a parlay. I'm just taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it either, and I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Saturday afternoon. Steelers on the road at the Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 6.5.
I wouldn't do this parlay either. And getting 6.5, I think that Pittsburgh is capable of keeping it close and even winning. So they're getting a decent amount. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh again. Might lose 2 in a row with them, but I'm still going to go with them.
Ravens outperformed the Giants, who wasn't even a test. Come back home, a little bit short a week. I'm taking the Ravens. Giants on the road to the Falcons, who are playing now. The Falcons who are beating the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. And what's his name's out? DeVito, right?
DeVito is out with a concussion.
So he's not in this week.
So, no, I don't think he could pass concussion protocol that quickly.
So
but
you said the third string.
What did they do?
Yeah, but the third string you said sucked.
Are favored by 10.
Falcons.
That's a big spread.
So, wait. So, Cousins did well enough to stay in?
Cousins is playing right now against the Raiders in Vegas.
I wouldn't put this in the parlay either, but I would pick the Falcons. So far, I'm not hearing anything that makes me go, yeah, I feel confident about the parlay. I don't know why.
And this week, it's getting later in the season, and a lot of these spreads are going to be really, really weird. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They're playing the Raiders right now, and they're favored by 10. How bad are the Giants? They're pretty freaking bad. I'm going to take my Falcons and hope for the best.
Right.
I mean, they haven't beat anybody by 10 in a while, but I'm hoping that they can beat the Giants by 10.
You'd hope. And hopefully the spread will be 8 later in the week.
The next game scares the shit out of me because this is a game that the Lions already should have lost. Lions on the road at the Bears. They're outside the dome. They lost yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to the Bears, who are playing right now and are getting killed by the Vikings.
If the Bears aren't getting double digits, it's weird, right?
The Bears are getting 7.5.
I tell you, I'd put this in the parlay.
But see, here's the thing. This is an outdoor game.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a game where the Bears should have beat Detroit if it wasn't based on the fact that the quarterback was changing the play and the Bears coach let the game clock run out of time before he had a chance. They should have beat Detroit already. They play each other. It's in the division. I'm scared of this game.
I'm scared too, to be completely honest with you.
I think this game, I'm scared of it. Just forget about the bet. I just don't want the Lions to lose another game and then all of a sudden, oh shit, we're behind the Vikings. See, there's a lot more pressure now this week than there was last week.
And the
Vikings are probably going to win this game because they're up 27-6.
Out of everything so far, it's what I feel the most confident in. But
is the Lions?
Yeah, but I'm not saying it should be. But I'm just saying it's the only one so far. We won't even write it down. But I'm definitely picking the Lions as a win, and then we'll see.
Lions as a win, and we're going to see if we put in the parlay.
All right.
The next game, I would put in a parlay.
All right.
But
this
is a team that doesn't always perform on the road, but I still think that this spread is based on recency bias.
All right.
Cardinals on the road at the Panthers. Cardinals are favored by 4.5. Panthers came off an awful game, which they turned the ball over. I could see that the Cowboys and the Cardinals are very similar type teams. They have weapons. Defenses are hot and cold. It is on the road. Can the Panthers surprise you? I think everybody's not going to be surprised about the Panthers anymore.
I would go with this as a parlay if you're talking about picking the Birds, the Cardinals. Yeah.
I would pick the Cardinals.
Yeah. This is something
4.5.
I would get behind 100%.
Okay. So this could be in the
It's attractive to me too, yeah.
I know. The Cardinals need this to stay pace in the division.
Yeah.
So I would put them in a parlay. Next game, I don't see this in a parlay. And I don't think you can convince me ever to put this team in a parlay.
Let's
it's
see.
the Rams on the road to your Jets.
On the road to my Jets, and you're telling me that the Rams, if the Rams aren't giving them 5 points, like what's the spread?
The spread is the Rams are giving 3 points to the Jets, a field goal.
You wouldn't bet on the Rams? I would, with the loss that they've just had. I would, but it's not like it's something that I'm saying we really should do, but I would definitely consider it. But if you don't want to do it, I'm certainly not going to push it because it's the Jets.
The Jets, I don't know what the hell they are.
I know.
But even worse than that, a California team coming all the way to the East Coast is rough. It's even rougher when the weather on Sunday is going to be 27 degrees as a high and 17 as a low. I think this game could go easily to the Rams. I could also see this game saying, shit, it's not even 30 degrees out. I don't know if we're going to want to play this game. These guys aren't used to it.
I mean, I could see the odds being with the Jets potentially winning also just because they're 4-10. They just won one. You never know. But, okay, that's fine. But I'm certainly not picking the Jets.
No, I'm picking the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't trust that pick, but I'm picking the Rams based on a couple of factors.
And it's nice to be free. It's nice to not give a shit if I pick the Jets because I used to honestly care, and now I just don't. I don't care at all.
That's so sad. You used to care.
I used to care. I mean, not with him and not with this hype that was built into it for 2 years. I'm just sick of it. I want to be interested for other reasons. And if I can't get behind the quarterback that's supposed to be a leader, then screw it. And their defense has been blowing. So
their defense really is. I just don't know how you could say anything that's going to get anybody to agree that the Jets are turning into this better team.
Well, Rex Ryan has publicly asked to go back. And I would be so behind that just because I don't know if he's even a good coach anymore. I know he was a good defensive coach back in the day, but it would give me a reason to care because if you're a Jet fan, you liked Rex Ryan for more than you disliked him.
I think Rex should stay at the table at ESPN doing his show with Greeny and say, that's good because in all honesty, he's a personality now more than he is a coach. I don't think he can get away with doing some of the things he was a coach before. Mm-hmm. And he also, from the Jets, he went to the Bills. So he spent a lot of tenure at the Bills too. I get it. I don't think it's a good match going back to the Jets, though. It's just been a while since he coached.
I know, I hear you.
The next game, the Eagles are on the road at the Commanders. Division game, the Eagles are favored by 3.
Now, if I'm looking at the last 5 games, I would think that this could be a potential parlay, and I would obviously go Eagles, but I don't know. I don't know how many games are left to what we have to choose from. We really have to find 3.
There's 8 games left.
Oh, okay. So
we're about halfway through.
I'm going to pick the Eagles, but I don't know. What do you think? Because could I get behind them if you said, oh, yeah, this is the reason why and this is the reason why, I can get behind it.
Philly should be able to pull this out without too much trouble. Can I be surprised by the Commanders? Yes.
Yeah.
Can the Commanders come in there and blow everything up and say, yeah, we could take this team out. We know them. We're the division. We're not afraid of them. Yes. The Eagles should take this one. I would possibly put this one in the parlay.
I would absolutely put them in the more you talk about it. I would.
Here's the thing that scares me. So far, I think it's been last week, 4 of the 5 teams we were playing around with in the parlay. And this week, 2 of the 3 teams we were picking around, possibly taking in the parlay, have all been road favorites, which is scary. We're not counting on that home field push.
No, we're not. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's opposite of every betting tendency that I've ever heard before. But you know what? Who cares about them? If we win, we win. The next game is the Browns on the road against the Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 7. This game is a division game again, so they know each other. Mm-hmm. This is a crapshoot. The Bengals can do anything at any time on offense, and the Browns have a defense that can stifle people. I don't know what I'm looking at with the Browns. I do know this. Their quarterback, Jameis Winston, may or may not start this week if they decide the Browns aren't going anywhere, so they might as well play the kid who came in to fill in for Jameis Winston when he threw his 3rd or 4th interception last week and blew the game. That saved our parlay, but it's not a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Bengals in this. I don't feel good about giving 7 points. Last week we got lucky on the road, but that was the Titans. I think that the Titans are worse than anybody in the league. I actually read a thing today. I think the Titans are the worst betting team.
Oh, yeah?
When I was trying to look for the spreads, and they said the Titans are the worst team to bet on this year. I think they're like 0-9 versus the spread this year.
Okay. All right. Well, then who they playing this week? We haven't gotten to them yet.
No, they're coming up next.
All right, good. Well, anyway, I'm picking with you on the team, but yeah, so not a part of the parlay.
I'm picking the Bengals. Next game, we just mentioned them.
All right.
The Titans are on the road against the Colts.
Okay, against the Colts.
Division game, I know. The Colts who lost last week.
Yeah, I know.
Colts is -4.5.
I wouldn't bet on this game either because I think that they're probably, maybe they're not equally as bad, but in my mind they are. So I have no confidence in either team. And the Colts looked impressive for half that game.
I honestly think I would take the Colts. I think I would put them in a parlay. I think the Colts are going to come back and play decently and win. The Titans have showed me nothing.
I'm going to pick the
Colts. You just don't want them to tease.
I will not.
No, it's fine. We're not done.
I could be convinced.
Mm-hmm. Next game, another game where my team is not going to be doing well. The Vikings on the road at the Seahawks, who just totally shit the bed against the Packers.
Packers are a strong team.
Vikings are favored by 4.5.
Vikings, I'm going to pick the Vikings on the bet. I don't know if it's a smart bet to parlay either.
I'm not going to parlay this one on the road, but to me, the Vikings and Green Bay are very, very similar teams. Vikings, I think, have a better receiving core. I honestly think the Seahawks have a little bit better quarterback situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know no parlay.
No parlay. The next game, you may like this game. This game, once again, scares the crap out of me. I could consider putting this a parlay.
Right, tell me, what is it?
Patriots on the road at the Bills.
Okay, so what is it? The spread's what? On the road at the Bills, it's got to be 12.
14.5.
Okay.
At half a point.
14.5. I would not bet against the Bills giving 16, I don't think.
I'm taking the Bills. They got to be able to follow up that performance. I don't think it's going to be hard for them to follow up a good performance, whether it's 14.5. I mean, the only reason why the Lions got back in that game is because Goff threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't think there's 5 touchdowns in the Patriots at all, but it wasn't a dome. So if the weather's bad, I'd be scared, but I'm taking the Bills. I'm not parlaying this.
Yeah, me too.
The next game is the shittiest game I've heard in a while.
How many games left?
4. Jaguars on the road at the Raiders, and the Raiders are favored by 1.5. I wouldn't bet this with anybody else's money, let alone my money.
No.
There is no way to tell Who's anything?
Yeah, Jaguars. I'm going to pick them, but no parlay. We're not betting. We agree.
I'm just taking the Jaguars because I think they have a better quarterback situation. Barely. Well, this game is going to be interesting in a lot of different ways. The 49ers are on the road at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by 2.5, even though they lost to the Texans. They didn't do much.
I have no idea. I'm going to go with Niners, and it's just a guess.
I'm taking the Niners. I wouldn't parlay that one.
No, definitely not.
This is our last chance, I believe, to parlay. The Bucks, who you said you're taking them for the rest of the year, are on the road on Sunday night, national television, in Jerry's World at the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Spread is between 3.5 and 4. One place had 3.5, one place had 4.
That they're getting.
The Bucks, no.
The Bucks are getting.
Are giving.
They're giving.
Dallas. I would take the Bucks. It's 3.5 or 4. Dallas played well against Carolina. Yes, division.
And all the talent, you say. They got all this talent. And the quarterback is whatever he is, but I guess
Cooper
he was
Rush.
in it. Yeah.
They played okay against Carolina. I don't think there's any comparison between Carolina and Tampa. I think Tampa is a far superior offensive team, and I think that they are much better, well-rounded defensively. The competition, when they play well against competition. I think Tampa should win this game, probably a lot easier than they think.
Oh, I will go with your confidence on that, and I do like
Once
him.
Again, it's a road favorite.
Yeah,
but
I do like that. I mean, how many do we have? So we have like 4 options
one
right now. I know, only one left, but we have 4 options.
Four
for
options.
teases. All right, and the last one isn't an option to you.
The last game is Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider this an option, but it's the Saints on the road at the Packers.
So you don't think the Packers are strong enough to beat the Saints by 10?
I think they probably would beat the Saints by 10. The spread is 13.5.
No. Okay. I wasn't expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No,
that's kind of a large spread for
it is.
An outdoor game, a little flip either way. Green Bay's always freaking cold. It's on a Monday night. Saints got nothing to basically play for in any way. They went for 2 because they know their season's over against the Commanders and lost.
Right.
In Green Bay, I actually, without putting this in a parlay, I think I'm picking the Saints to keep it close.
And I'm going to pick Green Bay.
Let's just iron out our parlay quickly.
Gotcha.
You like the Lions by 7.5 over the Bears.
Well, I mean, I said it was the first one that I was like, whichever. Yeah, right. I could.
I like the Cardinals by 4.5 over the Panthers.
I also like the Cardinals. That's a yes. If we like that, so we can agree on one. Yes.
Okay. The second one is the Eagles over the Commanders by 3.
I would pick the Eagles over the Commanders, yes.
And a parlay.
Yes, I would. But would you?
I think so. So that's number 2. The last one is the Titans on the road at the Colts. Colts by 4.5. You don't like the Colts in a parlay.
So those are the only options.
No, Bucks on the road at the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are getting 3.5. So the Bucks are favored by 3.5.
All right, I would go with the Bucks.
We are actually in agreement again because out of this whole list here, there's only 4 games that I like to parlay. And the last one would have been the Titans and the Colts.
And if we would have said that every time we said parlay, you'd have to take a drink in the beginning of this, you'd be shit-faced right now.
Oh, I am shit-faced. That's what nobody knows.
Not you, well, them. But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So we got it. We got the parlay?
Yep, we're done.